Welcome to Elevating Your Life, where each episode is dedicated to sharing valuable information, useful techniques, and empowering inspiration so that you can experience personal and physical abundance. Success and happiness are within your reach. I am your go-to gal who will help you find your happiness triggers and a true elevated life. I am your host, Paula Vail. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, I am happy to offer the wisdom and inspiration of just an amazing lady. We have with us today Bonny Meyer. She is the author of Perfectly Paired. She is the principal of Meyer Family Enterprises, an investment company dedicated to the regeneration of the planet and society after selling her Silver Oak cellars in 2001. Anyway, her winery we're going to hear about, her book, and all the exciting things about her. And something very fun about Bonny, I have to share. She married a monk. And that's something we don't hear every day. Bonny, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Paula.
I'm so honored. I'm so honored. Well, let's begin with what inspired you to write this fantastic book with so much amazing history and information?
Perfectly Paired is a memoir, and for decades people have encouraged me to tell my story, which I really didn't want to do. They wanted to know about how I ended up marrying a monk, but it wasn't until I realized that the book could be a platform for things I actually really cared about. So I had no deep desire to share the intimate details, and it is a very intimate book. I had no great desire to share intimate details, but I understood that if I did, I could share the story in a way that I could share wisdom that I have gained along the way about relationship and about beautiful business and about navigating grief. And so I realized that I could talk about those things in the context of the story.
Yes, I love it. And you share so many key and inspiring things. And really, a lot of what you share, the story, your marriage, and, working with the winery. I mean, you share so many wonderful things. I'm going to give you an example. Something you said about something that really gives quality to a marriage, a relationship, is kindness. I love that, Bonny. Tell us about that. What brought that out?
Actually, when young couples come to me and ask me for marriage advice, kindness is the first thing that I say. It's too easy when we become familiar with someone. It's too easy to take that familiarity in our relationship for granted. And I think it's so important to treat each other, especially in a marriage, with constant kindness. Because what a great relationship also requires is surrender. And if we're kind with each other, then we don't feel like we have to put up barriers and protection against the other. And then we can allow ourselves to surrender into deeper and deeper relationship.
Yes, I love that. And, if we have kindness in the relationship, that surrender can be us just being allowed to be ourselves and not be in fear, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and what can be accomplished, and what beautiful relationship creation that can give us when we realize our relationship is a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because
Exactly.
actually in life, it can be easy when you have frustrations or things in your life that frustrate you. You can actually become more irritated with your spouse, you know? So that is really a huge part of it. And you also mentioned something about just letting go.
Yes. It's so important to actually, sometimes I talk about this as a lightness of being. So I think one of the qualities that Justin and I shared was a lightness of being, where we didn't take anything too seriously and we could laugh at ourselves. You know, there are things, mistakes that we make or things that happen. I drop something and it's all over the floor at the wrong time, or, you know, we all do this all the time. And when we can laugh about it and have that kind of perspective and let go of any momentary blame or anger that we would have toward the other person or toward ourselves, just makes life better.
Yes, it really
Yeah.
does. It really does. And in the book, Bonnie, you tell many wonderful stories throughout the book. And is there a particular story that really stands out that you'd like to share with us about the evolution of silver oaks?
About the evolution of silver oak, well, I would say that when Justin and I were married, he had been a monk, so the sum total, and I was just out of college, sum total of our fortune is he had a dog and I had a car. But we also had a dream of making one of the finest Cabernets in the world. And that was our dream, but we never had the dream of making money or being a big success. We really just wanted to make beautiful wines. And I'd say maybe the most important thing about our approach to business and that business is that it was that actually created the success that we hadn't intended. And it was the constant focus on the dream and excellence and treating each other well. Our love, I really feel like our love and permeated our wine, it permeated every aspect of our business. Our values permeated that, so that all of our customers and suppliers and distributors had all felt valued, and the integrity and the relationship and the kindness, and the laughter. Laughter and joy were a really important aspect of how we went about our business.
Yes, I love it. My oldest son's a chemist, and he makes wine for fun. And I've always been fascinated, and I can only imagine how fantastic it must be, Bonnie, to create something like your amazing Cabernet. How that must make you feel. I just bet it made you feel so fantastic.
Well, each wine, each vintage, each block, actually we grow grapes and pick them, harvest them, and make wine in blocks. So we don't mix them up until later. But each one, each block and each vintage is like a child. And the job of the winemaker is to bring out the best in that particular child, and to honor, to taste what it is, and really tweak, do as little as possible in a lot of ways, to just tweak each one. And it's wonderful. It's like cooking a fantastic, we've all had the experience of cooking a meal or making a dessert that just was memorable.
Yeah.
And then you get to share it with your friends. And so we all have had that experience, and that experience is almost an everyday experience for a winery and winemaker.
Creativity is just such a beautiful thing, and we all have that.
Mm.
It can be different things, and it's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Now, you know, so many of us, and it's something I'm very passionate about, is, you know, we can feel, we can receive signs from our loved ones. Will you share with us the story of your hairdryer turning off? I'd love that.
So Justin and I shared a bathroom, and on the wall there was one of those hair dryers that you sometimes see in hotels, that you take the nozzle off and it goes on and you dry your hair, and then you put the nozzle back on and it kind of clips on with like a magnet. And he hated that hair dryer because he would brush his teeth and he would hit the nozzle with his elbow and it would fall off and it would start going, and he would have to retrieve it and put it back on. This was something that he just complained about frequently. And 2 days after he died, Justin died suddenly of a heart attack. And 2 days after that, the hair dryer started going on. And I went into the bathroom to find out what was going on, put the nozzle back on, and it didn't stop. Then I took it off, on and off a few times, and it still didn't stop. And then put it on a final time and it stopped. And I go, huh, okay. And thereafter, that hair dryer, every time I was feeling really overcome with grief and a sense of loss, the hair dryer would go crazy.
Oh my gosh.
And then when I would calm down or walk into the room and I had found my center again, it would slow down and stop. And that went on for about a year. And it was Justin's way. And I've heard so many stories since of people who are contacted and by people who beloveds who have died. Mm-hmm. And something about electronics, it seems to be an avenue that people in spirit form can access. So the hairdryer was his way of saying, I'm here, it's okay, you'll be okay, yes. I love you, you know, it's all of that. So that's the yes. story of the hairdryer.
Isn't that just so awesome? And you know, so many things can happen during a day, signs given to us, our loved ones, you know, giving us little messages. That is fantastic. And I know also after Justin passed, you have talked about lucid dreams. Tell us about those. Tell us about that, please.
So just a quick definition, a lucid dream is a dream where I know that I'm dreaming. I'm not caught in the dream. I'm actually aware. And in those lucid dreams, I would see Justin and we would just chatting about the kids. And I found them very comforting. But then I would wake up and I would feel bereft again because, you know, I was real connected and in a conversation, and then he was gone again. And so eventually I actually learned how to access him and be with him and have conversation with him using a meditation. And because I was so frustrated by not being able to do this intentionally, I learned how to do it intentionally. And my experiences, I talk about these things in the book because I want to give people a sense of hope and perspective that relationships continue after someone dies, and that we can learn how to be with them and find comfort in those connections.
Yes, and your book does give so many great tools and sharings of along that line. And, you know, it really is powerful, Bonnie. You know, you shared the amazing love that you had with your husband and still have. And, you know, Justin is, I'm sure he's watching our interview right now.
I'm confident. Well, you know, the book Perfectly Paired is really like a treasure map. It's really a love story, but there's all kinds of treasures embedded in it. So it's definitely not a how-to book. Anyone could buy how-to books about relationship or about business or about navigating grief, but it has all those things through story embedded in it, and makes it, it's more fun to read, and you get to discover things along the way.
Yes, yes. And you know, the fact that you share so much of what you personally went through, you know, meeting Justin, having your beautiful relationship, and then losing him that day, and then what's transformed after, and the perspectives and wisdom that's given you. It really is a beautiful book, Bonnie. It is.
Thank you.
Gosh.
Thank you.
So what would you say to the audience, you know, that's thinking, gosh, you know, what can I, with reading that, what kind of inspiration and perceptions is that going to give me? What would you say to that?
Well, my intention, again, in writing the book was I firmly believe that we all have the capacity to have extraordinary relationships. We all have the capacity to connect with our loved ones after they've died. We all have the capacity to make to choose our attitudes every day. Yes. And to choose joy and gratitude and love, and not be at the whim of anything that happens around me. So regardless of the circumstances. Yes. And so I firmly believe that we all have the capacity, and we all deserve it. We all deserve extraordinary relationships and love and peace.
Yes. Yeah. And you know, all of the different points and experiences you share really do put that message out there. It really does do that, Bonnie. And I believe the messages you share, the stories, is something that can, you know, open us up to, you know, a lot of different perspectives and happiness for really in all relationships in our life.
The great thing about perspective and opening awareness is that you can't go back. You can't get smaller. Right? Yeah. So,
yeah. Because once you do that, you're growing, correct?
Yes.
It's like that grapevine is just growing and getting bigger. I love it. Yeah. I love it. Your book really truly is a gift. It really is, Bonnie. And you know, and the time of it coming out now is beautiful. So many people are going to gain and love the book as I do. And I love the title, Perfectly Paired, and that you share in there about the winery and give all of that experience and information. Well, what's it like? Let's chat a moment. We did before the show. Having a family business, that's truly inspiring and fulfilling in its own way, isn't it?
Yes. One of the great things about wineries in general is that it doesn't take a lot of people to make wine. And so your business the number of people can be relatively small. And so our employees became like a family. And then our kids, they all grew up literally at the winery. It's from babies to toddlers to school kids to teenagers and beyond. We had work to do there, and they were there too, playing or working in the vineyard or in the winery. And so, yeah, I think it's a great, I love that part of the experience.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It is great. I remember when, running the restaurant that I owned for years, and when I was making the decision to purchase it, I discussed that with my family, because if I take this on, this affects the whole family, and really that's a great way to go into a business where you're together and putting that together. I love it. Well, with a few minutes left in the show, Bonnie, what last words do you want to share with us? And I would also love to have you share your website and any contact information you want to give the audience.
Sure. I would leave your listeners with just the primary messages in the book, and that is that that kindness, love, surrender are so important, are the primary important things in relationship, but also in life. And as we, Brene Brown talks about how important it is to be vulnerable. And it's that vulnerability that really gives relationship and life the juice that it takes to be wonderful. And then let's see, my website is bonnymeyer.com, BONNYMEYER. There are lots of ways to spell it. And Bonnie at bonnymeyer.com. You can get a hold of me that way.
Oh, so yes. Oh, Bonnie, thank you so much. And I just want to give you a heartfelt thank you for creating this book and being such a beautiful light in so many lives. It's just a beautiful thing, and I'm really grateful.
So you're very welcome, Paula, and I'm glad that we had a chance to connect. You are doing the same through the show and all of the things that you've been doing.
Yes. Just, isn't it wonderful to just be a positive energy, supporting each other, and I'm just so grateful to have met you. And to my audience, so grateful for you as well. Love, hugs, and blessings. Bonnie, love, hugs, and blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paula.